And now you're going to hear some wise and inspiring words from our spiritual practitioner, one of our three spiritual practitioners, Jim Grove. Jim has been with our center since 2002 when we first began, our center was founded. And he is an integral part of the life of our Center for Spiritual Living, Sarasota. His message today, and the title could not be more timely, Living in the In-Between.
Well, thank you so much for those kind words of introduction, Reverend Karen. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Jay and Bob. That was great. So good morning. It's a real honor for me to be the guest speaker this morning. I couldn't have begun to imagine that I'd be giving my first full Sunday morning talk sitting here in my home office, looking into my iPad, rather than standing in front of you at the Southgate Community Center and looking into your bright, shining faces, although I know they're out there. But such is the state of affairs that exist today. And although we're bombarded with grim statistics and dire predictions every moment, new opportunities are being presented equally as fast for reaching the world with our life-transforming message. Just think of the amazing miracle that we're all experiencing right now as we connect with each other from physical locations all over the local Sarasota area and beyond. Just a few short years ago, this would have seemed impossible, but technology has caught up with this divine idea born from the mind of God, and here we are. So my topic this morning is living in the in-between. I've prayed, affirmed, and visualized. Now what? And doesn't this moment in time seem like an in-between moment? Here we are seemingly in limbo, sheltering in place and watching the numbers of those infected by the coronavirus exponentially increase daily, along with the mortality rate. And others of us have to leave the shelter of our homes to provide essential services, like keeping the utilities running, keeping the food supply chain open, and providing health care to those who so desperately need it, all while running the risk of exposing themselves to the virus. The whole experience is surreal, and it can be quite frightening if we allow it to be. But hopefully you'll feel a little calmer by the end of this time we're spending together in spiritual community this morning. And you'll be armed with some helpful tips to navigate this in-between experience and all the others you faced in your life. So to start, let me ask you a question. Who likes to hurry up and wait? I'm imagining there's a lot of virtual shaking of heads going on out there right now. That's right. We all want our good and we want it now, don't we? It's like going to the doctor. You most likely made your appointment days, weeks, or even months in advance. Then on the day of the appointment, you get ready, arrive with everything you need, go up to the receptionist, and you're told the doctor will see you immediately, right? Okay, you're probably told that the doctor is running behind and he or she will see you as soon as possible and to please take a seat. You then start the excruciating experience of waiting. After all, it is called a waiting room, isn't it? Oftentimes it can feel the same way when you're waiting for an answer to prayer or a demonstration, as it's known in religious science. You've done your part. You've laid a whopper of an affirmative prayer on the universe with force and passion. For effect, you might have stood up, walked around, and waved your arms in the air. Or maybe you put your hands on your hips and, like early New Thought teacher Emma Curtis Hopkins, you demanded to see the good materialize. I can recall Reverend David Owen Ritz from my early days in religious science at the Center for Positive Living here in Sarasota, describing this as whipping yourself up into a metaphysical frenzy. You might know what I'm talking about. I've certainly used that technique a time or two. So after releasing your word to the law with complete confidence, you feel great. You just know it's going to happen. You start making affirmations and visualizing what it's going to be like. You can feel it. Then a day goes by and you're still pumped. Then another day and another goes by. Eventually, it's a week later or longer, and you still don't have an answer. What's taking so long? Come on, God, why am I only hearing crickets? Well, that's the period of time I call living in the in-between. That period of time from declaring, and so it is, to the experience of, and here it is. So it's all about time and our understanding of it that makes us feel like the creative process isn't working fast enough or isn't working at all. Dr. Ernest Holmes, the architect of the science of mind philosophy, gives us some insight about this thing we call time in the daily devotional book he authored along with Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, 365 Days of Richer Living. He says, the universe is an orderly system of intelligence, and we exist in it as orderly spiritual beings. Procrastination and delay are unknown to the divine presence and should be unknown to us. Time, spiritually understood, is an orderly method of living easily. Its sole value is measurement. Many people develop an unconscious resistance to time and are habitually late for appointments. These same people usually find their demonstrations delayed because they are in a consciousness of delay. If we are often late in our daily schedules, we can hardly expect the law of mind to deliver our demonstrations at the instant we think they should appear, because the law can only deal with our own thought. Students of this teaching would do well to think deeply on this idea. Ideas appear on time. Nature is orderly and accurate. We can easily discipline ourselves to new habits of time which agree with God's. The song Jay sang so beautifully, Accentuate the Positive, speaks to the in-between, which is actually part of the creative process. This is when the creative mind, or law, is forming the manifestation from the mold we've created with our word. As the lyrics of the chorus go, accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess around with Mr. In-Between. First, you have an idea or desire, and you do an affirmative prayer, recognizing that God is all there is, declaring your unity with this divine presence, and realizing or declaring your good. This is when you're accentuating the positive and latching on to the affirmative, making statements of truth about God, yourself, and your desired outcome. By so doing, you're eliminating the negative, because each statement of truth, backed by strong belief and faith, dissolves any opposing beliefs and clears the way of manifestation of your good. And of course, there's also the expression of gratitude and release that are part of an affirmative prayer. So we're left with the not messing around with Mr. In-Between. That's the place we're really talking about this morning. That's when the law of mind, after having received its marching orders from you, is working diligently behind the scenes to bring together all the people, circumstances, and things necessary for the demonstration. Sometimes the demonstration will manifest instantaneously. That happened to me last summer with the bird rescue I spoke about in our Ordinary Miracles service on February 9th. Or the manifestation may be nearly immediate, as Kathleen Frankert and Harvey Kaltz's experienced when a federal bureaucracy moved at lightning speed in just hours to issue Harvey a new passport when his had been lost and they were due to leave the country the next day. Or the manifestation may take much longer, years in fact, as it did with the new home manifested by Jaron Nelson. By the way, you can find the podcast for that service on our website, csl.com, and listen to the details of those 3 amazing testimonials to the power of prayer. Now, if the answers to your prayers don't come instantaneously or near instantaneously, it can feel like they've gone unanswered or unheard, or worse yet, that the answer is no. But don't get discouraged. The universe is always listening, and the law of cause and effect is working with meticulous precision to deliver into your experience the exact manifestation of your desire. Ernest Holmes reminds us in the Science of Mind textbook, the truth is instantaneous in its demonstration, taking only so much time in its unfoldment as is inherent in the law of a logical and sequential evolution. So what he's telling us here is that we need to give the law an opportunity to bring everything together in a way that produces a perfect result. And that feels like it's taking its own sweet time to us humans. There is a caveat, though. The manifestation shows up according to your belief about it. Jesus said, "It is done to you as you believe." There's that pesky word "as," which means in like manner. So you can pray and affirm with determination and extreme fervor for some specific thing, relationship, or experience. But if your beliefs aren't in alignment with your desire, you may be disappointed with what you receive when you finally receive it. In other words, the demonstration may look totally different, inconsequential, or just all wrong. So what is the key to maneuvering through this in-between time, you might ask? It can be summed up in one word: detachment. No, I don't mean giving up on your desires by saying things like, "It's never going to happen," or "I don't care whether it happens or not." Detachment is trust. Trust that after you've declared your desire in affirmative prayer, it's as good as done. You're always trusting in something. Even doubt is simply trust that something most likely won't happen. Ernest Holmes said, "A treatment won't help you if you haven't faith in it, for faith and expectancy impress the subconscious mind with the picture of fulfillment." So how do you practice detachment when you're living in the in-between? Well, here are some helpful suggestions that you can use, whether you've prayed for an end to the coronavirus or for any of your other heart's desires to enrich your life. So number one, take a bubble bath. In other words, relax. The law of mind is intelligent, but it's not self-aware, and your anxiety may send mixed signals that could very well prolong the in-between period unnecessarily. Meditation is a spiritual practice that is perfect for quieting the monkey mind and getting in touch with the center of your being, which is God. The Bible offers this advice: "Be still and know that I am God." The second suggestion: forget about it. Get busy. Ernest Holmes said, "Treat and move your feet." And it's also been said, "Pray and paddle the boat." In other words, after you've declared your word of truth into the law, move on to what's in front of you to do at the moment, or find something to do that can distract you from obsessing over the answer and how long it might take. And if thoughts ever pop into your mind, just remind yourself that it is done. Next, prepare for your good. Make friends with it. Familiarize yourself with it. If you've prayed for a new car, clean out your garage or make plans about where you're going to park it. Go to dealerships and look at cars. Sit behind the wheel. Run your hand over the seats. Take it for a test drive. Then use that knowledge to inspire your affirmation. Ernest Holmes said, "Expect and prepare for your good. If you ask for success and prepare for failure, you will receive the thing you prepared for." Next, be a good gardener. When you plant a seed of desire into the creative medium of the law, give it time to germinate, sprout, and grow. You don't plant an acorn and then whine because it hasn't grown into a tree, do you? You know it has no choice but to grow. You don't dig it up to see if it's sprouting. Ernest Holmes uses this analogy of seed, soil, and plant in the Science of Mind textbook. He says it's like planting a seed in the ground. The practitioner, in this case that's you, sows the seed and the creative mind produces the plant. Does the soil operate on the seed or does the seed operate on the soil? We do not know. But we do know that when a seed is put into the ground, the law pertaining to growth operates and a plant is produced. Next, pay attention. Notice small things happening that indicate your manifestation is on its way. Florence Scovel Shinn, an early 20th century practitioner of New Thought, called such small things, signs of land. In her book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, she says, invariably, before a demonstration come signs of land. Before Columbus reached America, he saw birds and twigs, which showed him land was near. So it is with a demonstration. But she also cautions us not to make the mistake of the signs of land for the demonstration itself, or you may be disappointed. Next, use affirmations. Choose those that resonate with you or create your own. Take these statements of truth into your daily life and repeat them silently out loud. Do this as often as needed to keep you anchored in knowing that divine right action is the activity of God in your life and working now to deliver your good. Finally, if you're having difficulty detaching from outcomes and managing through the in-between, you can always seek spiritual support and guidance by making a prayer request. This can be done, as Reverend Karen pointed out earlier, by going to our website and clicking on the prayer request button, or by calling the center's telephone number. Miracle moments for when we're back to physically meeting on Sunday mornings can also be a powerful tool. This is when you can meet with a practitioner for a brief one-on-one prayer support after Sunday service. You can also schedule a paid professional client practitioner session of 1 hour with one of our licensed practitioners. That's Kathleen Frankert, Jaron Nelson, or myself. This type of session provides personal, in-depth support and guidance, which is private and confidential. Our contact information is listed on the center's website. Click on the staff button and then on the practitioners button. Or you can call the center's telephone number and one of us will get back to you shortly. And there you have it, my insights on navigating the in-between. Remember, trust that the infinite source of all power and life has this, and then detach by releasing and letting go. As Eddie Watkins Jr. advises us in one of his popular songs, get out of the way and let God do its thing. Just admit that you don't have all the answers, but recognize that God does. In closing, I'd like to leave you with this quote by Reverend Dr. Michael Gott from the February Science of Mind magazine. He says, what I'm learning now is a deeper trust of divine intelligence. There are movements of energy in creation that I cannot see or comprehend, but I can know that everything is connected, alive, and moving together for the good of all. I can trust the process. When I let things be, open my faith and my intuition, I am continuously surprised at how well things work together. Maybe not to blueprint or timeline, but something good always shows up. You don't have to figure it all out. Let it be revealed. So when you find yourself in times of trouble and living in the in-between, just remember that you can just let it be, and God will work it out for you in divine right order. Peace and blessings to you as you navigate your own path through the in-between. And so it is. And now to anchor this idea of detachment, Reverend Jay is going to sing, Let It Be.